Hey. Oh my God. So many heart eyes. Hey. Hey, girl. Hey. Hey, Jay. Who's ready to vote? Who's ready to learn? You're into my hair. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Lyric. That's my cousin. The skin is glowing. I'm gonna keep going with the compliments, please. Who's ready to vote? That was my phone telling me I need to charge it. I am so happy. This is the last Instagram Live. We're getting closer to Election Day. It's almost showtime. You guys who are not procrastinators, who have registered to vote already and know that you're registered to vote if you haven't voted yet, good job. If you are still unsure or you want to make sure that you're registered to vote, go to kianaledé.com/vote. Congratulations to everyone who put their ballots in so far with the mail-in ballot. Proud of you. Okay. Thanks for joining, everyone. If you haven't heard, this is the I Am a New Voter Instagram Live, where we're basically breaking down everything in plain language when it comes to voting, because we are getting close, and I had no idea before these Instagram Lives and before I talked to all these people that are so smart and came on my live to explain shit to me. I had no idea what I was doing. I literally was voting for whoever sounded like they were the most relatable and aligned with my views. And I was just guessing, and I still didn't even know what they were going to do once they got into office. So I wanted to do this to break it down for everyone. If you are still trying to get your ballot sheet together, please go to ballotready.org. It's a really good website where they just break down everything that's going to be on your ballot, depending on which zip code you live in, because obviously everything is different state to state and sometimes city to city. Today, on our last IG Live, I'm bringing in Anne. Dr. Ramon is a professor of epidemiology at the UCLA Fielding School of Public Health. She's the director of the Center for Global and Immigrant Health and is an internationally recognized expert for emerging infections, global health, and vaccination. Her work has focused on the emergence of infectious disease in populations living at the intersection of animal-human contact in Central Africa. It has led to fundamental understandings of the long-term consequences of the Ebola virus in survivors. Dr. Ramon's work has been featured in the New York Times, The Atlantic, The Economist, The Wall Street Journal, The Washington Post, Wired, Scientific American, Popular Science, Forbes, National Geographic, and she also appears frequently on television and radio discussing major issues surrounding disease emergence and has recently been a leading voice on the COVID-19 pandemic in national and international news, including BBC, CNN, CNN International, Fox Business News, and MSNBC. Before I bring Dr. Ann on, I wanted to make sure that you guys know that you can put in some questions in the little question and answer thingy. And feel free to ask, because this is the last one. This is what this is all about. I really just want people to know how to safely go to the polls if you are going to show up. I'm going to the polls. If you haven't done the mail-in ballot, it's really important that we go there and we go there safely. So I'm going to try and bring her on now. Yeah. And here she comes. Who's ready to learn? Hey.
Hi, how are you?
I am a voter man. Yeah.
Taking it off because I'm home and I can.
Yes. Start the people off with a lesson. She's at home, so she's taking off her mask. If she was outside, she would keep it on.
That's right.
Okay, awesome. So I have a few questions for you. Are you ready to get started?
Hit me. I'm ready.
Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the confusion between the confusion of COVID, because I've heard a bunch of different symptoms that you could have. I've heard a different bunch of theories of what it is. So can you just give us like a brief summary of what it is and the symptoms that you would probably be experiencing?
Sure, absolutely. So the thing about COVID is it can be very similar to it can manifest itself in a lot of different ways. So the things that you really want to look out for, if you have a cough, if you have a cold, if you're stuffed up, if you lose your taste or smell, that's really important. But, people get it that have sinus pain. People have headaches. Some people have vomiting. There's a whole list of things that you could potentially have. And the other thing that everybody should be remembering is that up to 40%, at what we know right now, 40%, maybe even more people are asymptomatic, meaning they have no symptoms whatsoever, none. So you can think you're totally fine, but you're actually infected and can infect other people. That's why it's so hard to deal with.
Got you, which is why we should be extra careful when we're going outside.
That's why it's so important to wear a mask, because you don't know who has it. The mask protects you, but it also protects other people from you. It's not that, you would essentially, I know most people here wouldn't think, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go infect somebody, but you don't know you have it. And so it's really important that everybody do their best. And also something really, really important happened today. The CDC changed their guidelines about about contact tracing and who counts as a contact. We used to think it was that you needed to be within 6 feet for 15 minutes or more. Now we know these really small contacts that people have, if one person isn't wearing a mask, they can transmit it to others. So I just want to make a plea to everybody. Wear your mask. It's really important.
Wow. Okay. And can we get into some of the safety precautions that are maybe already being put in place when we're going to the polls?
Absolutely. So this whole thing is about voting, and voting is so important for so many reasons. And it's more important than ever right now that people get out there and let their voice be heard. But of course, people are worried about going. We've had this discussion. We talked about this. It's something that people are going to worry about. Here's some good news. The CDC put out guidelines for all voting places, all polling places, and they are going to be very clear. There's going to be really good sanitization. People are going to be holding outside voting where possible. The rooms are going to be as ventilated as possible. But there are so many things that you can do yourself as a voter to be able to minimize your risk if you're going to go vote in person. Go at off hours if you can. Go early. And if you are going to go, back to mask. Mask is really important. Where I would personally feel most comfortable wearing eye protection. We know that your eyes are, you get mucous membranes in your eyes as well, and that's how the virus is spread. So you want to protect your mouth, you want to protect your nose, and you want to wear goggles or a face shield. And that will add an extra layer of protection. The next thing is you want to stay 6 feet apart from other people. So if you have to wait in line, be as distant as you possibly can. It's really important to do that. Then, of course, hand hygiene, very important. Wash your hands afterwards, but bring hand sanitizer as well. And after you've touched things, common surfaces, don't touch your face, don't rub your nose, don't rub your eyes, don't play with your hair. Just try and keep your hands away from your face until you can wash them. Those are all the key things that you should be doing. They're all the things that you should be doing in real life and in regular day-to-day life. Just make sure you implement them while you go out to vote. It's the same thing.
Got you. So I'm seeing some confusion with how people can get the virus and how it spreads. So can you explain some more about mucous membranes?
Sure. So the bottom line is the virus is going to enter the body through your mouth, your nose, or your eyes. Okay. So that's basically, you're going to inhale it, you're going to get it up your nose, but it can also enter through your eyes. And so you want to be able to create a barrier so that if somebody else around you has it and they're going to cough, or they're going to, even just when they're talking or breathing, we can exhale these small droplets that then are projected to another person. That's why it's so important that you wear a mask. You wear a mask because it's going to protect all of your droplets. You're keeping your droplets to yourself, essentially. But also, you're also providing a barrier so that you can't inhale those droplets as well. That's why I like to wear the face shield as well, because it really does provide an extra layer of protection. I do want to say, so I'm advising all these people on how to be able to do this. And I've been doing this for, I've done this for many, many years with lots of other viruses. But with a respiratory virus, it's really, really important that you're careful. And listen, people may look at you kind of funny. I mean, I go to the grocery store, I have a mask on, I have a face shield on. And, sometimes people kind of roll it, whatever. You know what? I'm going to be as safe as I can possibly be. And it makes sense, right? Just be as safe as you can be. There's literally no downside, except for maybe a couple people that might look at you funny. But if it looks good, if you're safe, nobody should care.
Yeah, at least you're saving your life and other people's
And,
lives.
and you're providing a good example to other people. Like, if more people do it, then it's going to be cool, right?
Yes. Make masks cool. They've
Make
been
masks cool. That's exactly right.
and okay, I see also people are asking about your hair. Daisha came in here and asked, what if you wear a wig? Can you get COVID from can it get stuck in your hair and then you it brushes your eye and now you have COVID? Is that possible?
Okay, so that would be what we like to call spread. So spread from an inanimate object, or what we call fomites. And so, I mean, in principle, it's possible. Somebody could cough on you, sneeze on you, just like you get it on your hand, touch your face. Of course. So what you just want to make sure you do is you air out whatever it is that you have. I mean, viruses can live for a while on surfaces. It depends upon the surface. I actually don't know about it would depend upon the material of the wig. I don't know about, if it's human hair versus some other material, because wigs can be all sorts of different materials. If so, you could spray it down with Lysol or something else, but putting it out in the sun would be a really good idea afterwards. Like, that's what I would do. I'd either put it out in the sun, get it out in open air, you're getting good UV light, which will help dissipate the virus more quickly. And then if not, you could spray it with Lysol, something that's antiviral. And so you want to make sure when you read, you read these, the instructions on things like Lysol or Clorox wipes or whatever, how long something has to stay wet for it to actually kill the virus. So just read the instructions and make sure it's antiviral, not antibacterial. It has to kill coronaviruses.
Okay. And so if I went to the polls, should I wash my hair after I go to the polls?
I mean, if it's not, I mean, it's not necessary. It's like I said, the bottom line is that the getting it on your clothes or on your hair, if you're in very close contact with somebody and they coughed on you, I mean, maybe you want to do it. Sure, why not? It can't hurt.
Right.
But it's less likely that you're going to get it from an inanimate object than you are from doing something where you touch something and then get it in your face or in your eyes. And I have not seen so, people ask me these kinds of questions all the time. I can give you kind of the general, I understand how viruses spread. This is in general what it is. I don't know specifically if there have been any studies about hair, but hair is an inanimate object like anything else. So I'll look it up and I'll let you know for sure if anybody has ever seen anything like this. But listen, one of the things that you just know is the cleaner you are, the better off it is, right? And so if you go somewhere and you feel like you were highly exposed to something, jump in the shower, fine.
Got you. Okay. Better safe than sorry is what you're saying.
But I think that, I do want to say, though, it's really about what you're breathing in and what's coming into your face at that particular moment, which is the most likely way you're going to get infected. So you don't want to spend like 90% of your time trying to prevent what might be like 10% of the problem, right?
Right.
90% of the problem is airborne spread.
Okay. So the power combo, if I were to go to the polls right now, the power combo would be either the goggles or just like the face shields, a mask.
Yep. That's it. You are well armed, and then you wash your hands afterwards.
Okay. Amazing. are the poll workers getting tested?
So poll workers usually are, a lot of them are volunteers. I don't think that there's a national program for testing poll workers. But getting tested is a really good thing. I would guess that if somebody feels like they were exposed, they're probably going to get tested. I don't think that there is a national program for it though.
Got you. And should we be getting tested before we go to vote?
You know, getting tested, the reason that you want to get tested, I mean, it's always a good thing to get tested. There's no problem in getting tested. But whether or not you're tested, I mean, getting tested to go and vote is not necessary. There are no barriers to you going to go vote. And what you really want to do is you just want to keep yourself safe and everybody around you safe. So don't worry about getting tested to go vote. You do not have to do that. And most people are going to be so far away from you, you shouldn't worry about it. But the most important thing is wearing a mask and a face shield. That's your key. Stay far away from people, mask and face shield. And the other things that you can do is really know your ballot, have a voting plan. And I know people say this all the time, but it's really important to have a voting plan. Think about what you're going to do. Read the ballot. Have everything all checked off on your own ballot already, so you don't have to sit there and deliberate whether or not you're gonna vote for this person or that person. Know what you're going to do, have a plan, and be ready to go. In and out is what I always say. You just want to get in. It's like going to the grocery store. You don't want to dawdle around. You want to just go do what you need to do and get out these days.
Got you. Okay. So in preparation for going to the polls, obviously we should all be staying home as much as we can, doing the best we can to stay away from people. Does that mean that Halloween is canceled? Because Halloween is my favorite holiday, and I know I'm definitely gonna have to give it up to stay home. But is there a way that we can socially distance Halloween or no?
I have some bad news for you. Some really bad news for you. So here's the deal. Halloween this year is not going to be like other Halloweens. And that's the bottom line. And I think that the thing that everybody feels here, everybody is so, this is terrible. This is a terrible moment for people. And they're so, everybody's got such pandemic fatigue. Everybody's had it, but the virus is not done with us yet. And so, until we have a vaccine, until we have really good therapeutics in place, we just have to really hold on. And that means that this holiday season is not going to be like previous holiday seasons. The only thing I can say about it is just remember, it's just this year.
Right.
It's going to be better. It's going to be better. Right? Somebody just said Halloween Zoom party, who's coming? I 100% agree. I love it. Holidays is going to be a Zoom party. And I totally agree. It is sad it's sad for everybody, but it's one of these things, it's like forgoing current pleasure for future greater gain. I mean, we are really at a tough moment with this virus. We're having more and more cases. Every single state in the whole US right now is struggling with COVID. It's going to get worse. All the experts are recommending that we really hunker down. And the problem is we plateaued for a while, but we already plateaued at 100 miles an hour. So it's going to just keep spreading exponentially. We have to be extremely cautious here. So I think we just have to think about how we're going to do things to be able to preserve your mental health. Zoom parties, great idea. If you are gonna go somewhere, please be outdoors and limit the number of people that you're around. Really important.
Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna be doing all my pumpkin carving at home and be dressing up in my costume, which I still haven't figured out, by the way. I can't believe out yet. I practice.
Well, you only need the costume from here to here, right?
That's so cool. I could just do the makeup and be fine.
Right. That's right.
Okay, are you joining our Zoom party?
I'm in. I'm totally in.
I got her. Okay, so Halloween's canceled. Cool. The Halloween outside is canceled. Okay, my next question is, you kind of already answered this, but I know a lot of states are pretty open right now. Like I've seen, like in Atlanta, they be putting up in Atlanta. They're at the strip clubs. They're at all the bars. They're having so. No matter how open your state is, I just want some validation. We should still be inside, right?
Yeah, no, here's the thing. Right now, it's up to everybody to do the right thing. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. And that's the problem, right? Right now, we know the virus is spreading and we have so many crazy mixed messages all over the place here. It's just, we have to listen to the scientists right now. We're getting closer and closer to a vaccine. We're getting closer and closer to good therapeutics that will make people less afraid of, of getting it because the outcomes will be less severe. So all of these things are moving in the right direction. They just haven't, we're just not there yet. And it's going to take a little bit more time until we get there. So even if you can go places, even if you can do things, it's better not to, because the more people that wear masks, more people wear face shields, more people that avoid crowds, the more people that do the right thing, the better off we're going to be. I mean, we've seen this happen in Europe. It's not a mystery how this virus is spreading at this point. And we know any time that this virus has an opportunity to infect somebody who's find people that are not infectious and infect, it takes that opportunity. And most people have not had this virus. And we're even finding some people get reinfected. I mean, it's not a very common thing, but it does happen. So we don't know how long somebody's going to be immune for. It's still new to humanity.
Right. When people are getting sorry, this is kind of off topic, but still on topic. When people are getting reinfected, are they sick and they get better and then they get sick again, or are they getting sick, then they get better and then they come into contact with someone who's sick and then they can get sick again?
So reinfection is when somebody gets sick again with a completely new, like all over again. So it's not a reactivation of an infection. So you were sick, it was still in your system, and then you got it again. This is you got sick and you and you got better, and then all of a sudden you got sick again, but with a totally new infection. So you were clear, got sick again. And people know that it's a totally new infection because they can sequence the virus. And so they can look at the DNA, like the genetic footprint, and be able to really determine that this was something that that's new.
Wow. Okay. And when it comes to masks, because obviously there's like all these cute little new fashion masks that are coming out, what is the best mask to wear? I seen something that said that if you can blow out a candle with your mask on, that you shouldn't be wearing it. It's not actually
That's right.
thing. That's correct.
That's totally right. So the best idea is like a triple ply mask. So you have surgical masks. Those are the ones, like the blue ones that you see that people have, and then you have these cloth masks. And you just want to make sure that a cloth mask is going to be thick enough. Some of them, like this one, I don't have it in right now, but you can put a filter in these and to make sure that you've got, additional protection. But you really want to have like a 3-ply mask. And it's exactly right. If you can blow out a candle or a match through that mask, then you know it's not good enough and that you should rethink what you're wearing.
Okay. I'm going to go and test all my masks out now.
That's a good idea.
Just leave the house, guys. Just grab a match, light a candle with the mask.
That's right.
Okay, cool. And I guess my only other question before I look and make sure that we've answered everyone's questions from the audience is the steps that we should take after we go to the polls would be obviously the first one, washing our hands. Mm-hmm. Anything else that we should do?
I mean, that's really it. And I think that this is the important thing. I think you can get, people are very nervous about going to the polls. And just because they're nervous about being around a lot of people. But I think with the right planning, it's fine. You really can go out and do the right thing. You want to also avoid, though, you really do want to avoid, you don't want to hang around and talk to people. You're there for a really important reason. Like, honor that reason why you're there. Go vote, do your thing, get out, wash your hands afterwards. But before you go, just wear a mask and a face shield. Or and if you don't have a face shield, if you don't have glasses, if you don't, just go with your mask if that's all you have. But I would just, wearing even, if you have eyeglasses, that's fine too. Somebody asked about gloves. You could wear gloves, but you have to be careful when you wear gloves to just take them off, carefully, and washing your hands is good enough. But I mean, there's no reason if you're more comfortable wearing gloves, that's totally fine. Just make sure that you take them off afterwards. You're not touching your fingers when you're doing it.
Yeah, because then also if you're wearing gloves, that you went to go like grab your phone or you touch your face with the gloves on, it's still the same shit as
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
I remember when this first started happening and I was on a plane back right before it like really went kaboom in the US, and I had gloves on, I had my hair up, I had a hoodie on, I had like all kinds of shit, and then I realized I was like scratching my face with the glove and I was like, oh my God.
That's right. That's right. No, but that's exactly the thing, right? It's really, really easy. You touch it. I mean, I'm just doing this because I'm showing you, like, you do this, right? And then you're immediately touching your face, right? It's so easy. Like, how many times a day do we do this? Or just, anything like this. Your hands are all over your face. Don't you remember the movie Contagion when Kate Winslet talked about how many times a day we touch our faces?
Ooh.
I mean, that's really true. It's really, really true. You just have to think about it and remember that you do it inadvertently all day long.
Yeah. Wow, Contagion is such a good movie. You just reminded me of that.
Great movie. And it's really realistic.
So out of all the movies, I always do this. I always bring some random question. Out of all the movies, you would say Contagion is like the most spot on one.
So it's funny because I did a couple years ago, I can't remember what it was for, but it was for something asked me about which movies were the most realistic. And I really think Contagion is realistic. I know Scott Burns, I know the writer really well, and he did a fantastic job. I mean, he did an amazing job with that movie. But I also think, if you take different pieces of different movies, you can see how similar are the parts that are really realistic. So the other movie that's like this is Outbreak. And what an Outbreak, I mean, that was a little bit more sensational, but still.
That the one about Ebola?
It was an Ebola-like virus.
Right.
And it was with Dustin Hoffman and Rene Russo and Cuba Gooding Jr., Kevin Spacey. I can't remember who else was in it. It was a big cat. Morgan Freeman was in it. I think Morgan Freeman was in both movies. And Morgan Freeman's in all of these movies, right? Oh. And so but I think that the key here, if you look at the taglines for both of those movies, those are really realistic. So when you think of the tagline for Outbreak, it was try to remain calm. And the tagline for Contagion was nothing spreads like fear. And I think it's really important when we think about how we're managing outbreaks and what that means. It's so true, right? I mean, you have to really think about, I think what happens is you have a lot of people who are very afraid and they're trying to understand what to do next. I mean, outbreaks are scary. The pandemic is scary, and it really impacts all of our lives. So I think that there's a grain of truth in all of those movies.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen fear play out in so many different ways. I mean, even with people who like refuse to wear masks, their fear is a different place than someone like me who would wear a mask any day, any time. And also like the fear, because there's so many different fears. So that's very true.
Totally. I agree.
I didn't even know that. Didn't think about it. Okay, I'm gonna go through these questions and just make sure there's no other questions before we log off. So this isn't something that we previously talked about, but people are asking questions about the vaccine.
Okay, sure.
And this person asked, what is the time frame for a vaccine and how safe? Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yep, I can hear you.
My phone keeps yelling at me. Plug it in. So this person asked, what is the time frame for a vaccine and how safe would it be?
Okay. So we're still looking at a vaccine probably becoming available sometime in the first quarter next year. So sometime probably, we'll get the data by the end of this year. And then if the data is good, if we actually have a vaccine that is safe and effective, then probably starting mid next year, the vaccine will start being available to other people. So that means probably around the summertime, it'll be available to the average person. Because first what needs to happen is that vaccine is going to have to be available to healthcare workers. And then it's going to be available to elderly populations, to people in nursing homes, and then it's going to go down the risk level of each group, just by each group who's at most risk, and then those people will get it. But the thing about this vaccine is that the vaccine candidates that are out right now, the ones that are likely, that, you know, at the front of the line here that we have the most data on, they're going to require 2 doses. So it's going to take, it's going to take time for everybody to be vaccinated and have enough immunity to it that we can actually stop spread of the virus. The other thing is that these vaccines have to be kept really cold. And so what our current logistics, like all the supply chain logistics of getting the vaccine to places, that all needs to be completely revamped, because we don't have these facilities. Not just like going to your CVS or your Rite Aid and getting a vaccine, or your doctor and getting a vaccine. You have to have the right kind of refrigeration and freezing mechanisms to be able to keep it cold enough so from the moment that it's made, it gets to you, it's the right temperature. That's what we call cold chain. So have to have the right cold chain to keep it the right temperature. I worry about cold chain in Africa for all the studies I do on vaccines there. So I do a lot of work in the Congo and places all around the world trying to understand why people are vaccinated, if people have immunity to vaccines, to things like measles and polio and all of these kind of regular vaccines we have, and we worry about cold chain there. Well, we're going to have to worry about cold chain in our own country right now.
Right. Wow. That's a lot to think about for a vaccine. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? We answered this one. Face shield. A face shield is not enough, right? You need a face shield and a mask.
And a mask. Because the mask is going to, you know, things can get around the face shield. It's just providing an extra layer of protection and covering your eyes. So, you know, there was a study. That's another thing. There was a study that showed that people who wore glasses, even, you know, if they don't have a face shield, if you wear glasses, that actually provides extra protection. And there was a much lower rate of infection in people who wore glasses than who didn't.
Wow. Okay. And just repeat one more time for everyone. How long, if you had gloves or on your phone or whatever, you need to sanitize your phone, how long can the virus stay on object?
So it depends upon the object. It depends upon the object. Can you hear me? I'm getting a bunch of texts here. So it depends upon the object, and there are some objects that it can last a couple of hours, and some objects that it can last up to 24 hours, some 3 days. And I would have to look them up exactly. You just have to Google it. It's on the CDC website. But just sanitize your phone. Use an antiviral wipe, you know, just like a little Clorox wipe on your phone. Turns out you can do that on your phone. It's not a problem. That's what I would do. Or use phone soap. I don't know if you guys have seen those phone soaps. They're like these, they're like these little ultraviolet light little things that you can put your phone in. It's like a little box that you put your phone in. But I think we really need to think about, I just think sanitizing is way better. Just use, you know, use like a wipe. That's it.
An antiviral wipe.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we answered all the questions. Is there anything that you feel like you should know that I didn't ask, or that you want to remind people of?
Well, I just think, you know, you've covered all of these things. You're amazing. You've done an amazing job asking all of the great questions and talking about all the right things. Today, we're talking about voting today. And I think that it's just so important that people know it's okay to go out and vote. And you just need to have a plan and to be able to, you know, wear your mask. If you can, have eye protection, wash your hands, stay far apart from other people, and know your ballot so you don't have to waste time around where you are. And, you know, this is for now. I know everybody is tired. I know everybody's sick of this virus. I'm sick of this virus. We're all sick of this virus. We all want to get back to our normal lives. But we just have to hang on a while longer. And it's because people like you are going out there and talking about it and talking about all of these important issues. You know, it's making a difference, and we can all be ambassadors. Everybody can make a difference. Everybody can make a difference in terms of reducing spread of the virus, and everybody can make a difference by getting out there and voting.
Yes. Wow. What a conclusion. Damn, girl. Everybody give it up. Dr. Ann. Thank you so much. I really appreciated having you, and I really loved having you on this. Thanks for making me feel a lot more calm and making sure that we know that we can go out and vote. And you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, and thanks to everybody. I really appreciate it, and it was really my pleasure, my honor to be on here with you.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was really good. I mean, I definitely feel a lot better about going out to the polls now that I heard Dr. Annie say that it was all good. I hope you guys got all of your questions answered. Just bottom line, wear a face shield if you have one. Most important is wear a mask. Wear a face shield if you have one, or glasses or goggles. Just take a shower after. I'm just gonna take a shower just to make sure that I didn't bring anything home. Make sure you wash your hands and get in and get out. That's what he said. Get in and get out. And don't talk to anyone. Don't be hanging out with your friends at the polls. You don't need to do that. Zoom party. Don't go trick-or-treating. I'm telling that to myself too. Don't go trick-or-treating. Yes, I still trick-or-treat. We're gonna have a Halloween Zoom party, I guess. Victoria, thanks for finally inviting me in the comments. You guys, thank you for coming and watching every week. I hope you learned as much as I did, and I hope this was helpful. Again, if you didn't get to see the entire live, I'm going to put it on my Instagram so that you can share it with your friends and rewatch it, and everyone can feel calm and good about going to the polls. Again, if you haven't registered to vote yet, or you want to check your registration, go to kianaledé.com/vote and go to ballotready.org to study and learn all of the information and prep your ballot ahead of time so you're not in there for a long amount of time because of COVID. All right, you guys, we did it. Be safe, have fun, and I'll talk to you later.